Hi again. This is Miss Lucas. Just back to try to help you wrap up day 3. Here's the one problem. It's in the middle of page 8 in your packet. And we didn't go over this problem, I don't think, or maybe we didn't go over B because we hadn't talked about what coplanar was. So remember that coplanar means that the points are all on the same plane. So in this particular case, I see D and G and E and F. Those are all lying on the blue plane. So I'm going to write that here. D, E. You can write that in any order you want, obviously, because we're just naming points. Now, the point H, I left that out. Why did I do that? Well, that point H, if you look at it, it's up above the blue plane. It's like up in the air. Like if you're standing on the blue plane, that's the ground, and H is up above you. So H is not on that plane. So we can't include that. So those are the 4 points that are coplanar. Now, if you turn over to page, I believe this is page 9. Let me just double check mine. Yeah, this looks like it's page 9. We've got a problem or two at the top, and it says, give an example of a line containing point K. So I'm going to grab a highlighter so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the line I'm looking at, and I see that the line has an A next to it, little script A. So that little script A is one way to name the line. We could say, hang on just one second, I want to get my black pen back. There we go. So we could say that one way to name this, it's not liking my pen, there we go, is line A. Or we can pick 2 points along that line. Now, the thing that's kind of confusing here is that J and K both have a dot, but L doesn't. So we don't really know what L is. L could be a point and they forgot to make a dot. We just don't have any way of knowing. So we won't use L because we're just not sure what it is. So another way I could name that line is with the line symbol above the 2 letters, JK. I could have also called it KJ. You don't have to go from left to right. You can go from right to left. Okay. Now, the second one, it says a point containing point L. So this is where I'm kind of led to believe that something's missing here. You know what I mean? Because they referred to it as point L, it must have a point. So if you want to go ahead and make that a point on your packet, I'm cool with that. I think it's a typo. So we can do one of 2 things. We can name it with its nickname, and that nickname is B. Or we can name it with 3 points that are not on the same line, that are not collinear. But the problem with that option is all 3 of our points, J and K and L, are on the same line. And we don't have any other points. So we can't use the 3-point method here. So we're stuck with the nickname. Now, moving on down the page, here's a little bit more just to fill in. Obviously, you're driving down 610, you're heading somewhere, and that 610 is going to act like a line. And another road is going to intersect it. At some point, driving along 610, you're going to get stopped at a red light. It's inevitable. I mean, I guess you could always hit green lights, but you're still going to go through an intersection where another road is crossing Garrisonville Road. So where they cross, where they intersect, is a point. And that's where you would have to stop your car if it was a red light. Now, this is just another reminder. When a line and a plane intersect, they meet at a line segment or a line. Or they could meet, but generally they meet at a point. Let me fix this. Generally they meet at a point. What's happening here is kind of confusing because we have a line cutting through the yellow plane and the purple plane. So typically what happens if you have one plane and you have a line cutting through it, it's going to intersect at a point or points. Whereas if you have two planes coming together, see how these two planes are meeting up with each other, but they've got some points in common. They form a line or a line segment. So that's important information. All right, now turning, I think we're still on page 9, but I put this on a different slide. This one's pretty complicated because you have a line going through the plane, and we can tell because of this dotted line area, this vertical line is cutting through the plane, and this line and this line are laying on the plane. So let's try to answer these questions, see how you guys did. GH is this vertical line. It intersects plane Q at one point, and that's point E. Now they want to name two lines that are contained in the plane. So you're going to need this line and you're going to need this line. You cannot pick the GH line because it's not contained in the plane. It just crosses through. So you can call these lines whatever you want. Well, within reason, they don't have a nickname, either one of them. So what you're going to have to do is draw your line symbol, one for each line. And then you're going to have to pick 2 points on that line. So typically I would pick A and B, and then I would pick D and C. But you can use E. E's okay. I just typically pick the one to the far left and the one to the far right. That's just my preference. So now we have to name number 3 collinear points. So these are points that lie along the same line. You can draw one line through them. And I think you have 3 different choices of answers. If you look at the vertical line, you have a G, an E, and an H. Excuse me. If you look at this line, you have an A, an E, and a B. And if you look at this third line, you have a D, an E, and a C. So I listed those all out because there's more than one right answer. And the last question, will points B and C and H determine a plane? And I feel like that's kind of a trick question. B and C and H are not on the flat plane Q that we see in our picture. So most of you probably said no. I'm good with that. One of the things that we can always do is draw another plane that includes all 3 of those points. It's just going to slice through Q. So is it possible? Yes, it is. But do we see it in our picture? No. So what I'm going to do here, and you can write this or not. I wouldn't ask you something like this on a test or anything. I will say, not in our picture. but they could be. If we drew another plane, and I know that's a lot to write, so I understand if you don't want to write that. But I just wanted you to kind of get the idea. That's kind of a gray, when they say that that's not black or white, that's gray. That's one of those answers that I think could go either way. Okay. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it.